soul, a feeling we cannot It's always pushing us forward, the limit up in the sky. There's rhythm in how we flow, a rhythm that can't be denied. It's in the feeling in how we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart, who we are. Cause the rhythm of life keeps bumping, together going strong, no matter what we keep this flowing. People we will go all in, our hands up in the sky, celebrate and come let your rhythm flow. Flow, 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 flow. Come let your rhythm flow. Come let your rhythm flow.
Get your bliss on. Get your bliss on. Get your bliss on. Cash Blitz.
Play Cash Blitz and get your blitz on. Cash Blitz is here, the newest scratch game from the Caribbean Lottery. With 4 tickets to choose from and the chance to win the big ticket top prize of $200,000. So get your blitz on today at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over.
Get your bliss on. Cash Blitz.
On Friday, July 24th at 8 p.m., the NEDAX Cultural Complex comes alive for the National Bank Miss Culture Swimwear and Mr. Cool Contest, who will capture the coveted titles. Come on out and support your favorite contestants and participants as they battle for the crowns. Our heritage, proud and true. It's Culturama 52.
Checking the engine, start the road is clear. The voice of the people is finally here. New town, are you ready to rise? Frigate Bay, open up your eyes. Tell us we coming for the win. Bird Rock, let the change begin. Stop and think and look around. When last the leader really held it down. When last you had a voice that's true. It's been a long time coming through. We checking Natasha, checking from the seaside up to the hill. Shani coming with the power and the will. We checking Natasha, checking. The wait is over, the time is now. We bringing progress. We showing them how. No more neglect, no more delay. We moving forward with Natasha Gray. When last you get representation, when last you feel the celebration. But who is coming to take the lead? Shani, the one we need. We checking Natasha, checking from the seaside up to the hill. Shani coming with the power and the will. We checking Natasha, checking.
morning. It's 11:09 right here in the studios of Freedom FM. And welcome to another edition of Vision Friday, the People's Action Movement's weekly program dedicated to meaningful conversation about the issues shaping St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, each week, including last week, we sit down with the party leaders, candidates, and special guests to discuss the challenges facing our nation and explore ideas for the future. Thank you so much for joining us. Our guest this morning again is the leader of the People's Action Movement, Natasha Shani Gray Brooks. And last week she indicated that she's happy when we call her Shani. So for the program, that's what we're going to call her. Welcome back, Shani. How are you?
Good morning, Jamie. I am doing well. Good morning to the listening and viewing audience. I trust and hope that everyone is having a wonderful Friday, despite the challenges that we may face in life, whether it is sickness, dealing with the loss of loved ones. I want to extend condolences to all those who have lost family members. And we're here on Vision Friday, and hopefully the things that we speak about today will bring some hope for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Definitely. So let's get right into it. Now, Shani, every political party talks about putting people first and having a people agenda, because guess what? That's what political parties are really there for, to put people first. Now, it sounds beautiful, but voters have grown tired of slogans. What does people first actually mean in terms of the bread and butter deliverables for a family listening right now?
Jamie, it means making sure that every decision we use the backbone of our federation, the families in East Bastille, Sandy Point, Verchilds, Nevis, wherever they are. We want to make sure that when the country, St. Kitts and Nevis, rise, the people who have made this country what it is today rise with them. We don't want to leave them behind. And for me, that is what a people first agenda look like. I don't want, when we have a grand opening of a nice capital project, that we say thank you to people of Barbados or St. Lucia. We want to make sure Kittitians and Nevisians, whether by birth or descent, they are the ones who actually feel everything that we have to benefit.
Okay. Now, I'm happy that you said the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because sometimes political parties tend to overlook those in Nevis. But when you are a political party vying for office in St. Kitts, you're vying for office in the federal government, so it covers Nevis as well. So let's talk a little bit about the relationship with the Nevis Island administration. Now, we've seen decades of tension between Bastille and Charlestown. I don't know how far this goes back, but as long as I can remember, there has been an underlying tension. Nevis always feeling left behind or financially shortchanged. You're talking about a completely different approach. Structurally, how do you fix a relationship that has tripped up leaders, so many leaders before you?
No, Jamie, over the years, sometimes people go away and they ask you where you're from. Some people say St. Kitts, some people say Nevis. Mm-hmm. We must recognize and understand that we are two islands, but one federation. Let's learn, let's teach our children in school. It's St. Kitts and Nevis. Yes, I was born in St. Kitts, but you are from St. Kitts and Nevis. When you recognize that sometimes when we try to fill out forms and you pull down the drop-down box, it's St. Kitts and Nevis. Mm-hmm. Let's not separate it. And we have to move away from a relationship of convenience. I'm not blaming anyone. Yes, sometimes for convenience, political parties make certain decisions, but we need to move away from that. Let's look at how we can build Kittitians, how we can build Nevisians. For far too long, I've heard the cries that, there's really not a unity of our two islands. We need to have a cohesion between St. Kitts and Nevis. The man in Charlestown must feel that he deserves the same benefits, and he actually gets them as a man in St. Kitts. So we have to establish a framework, one that is transparent, that St. Kitts and Nevis can work together. When it comes to revenue sharing, there must be a framework, one that is proportional, so that Nevis doesn't feel left behind, especially if it is a project that maybe was established in Nevis, on Division soil. Whether it is our CBI, our people must understand that we are one. We are one when we walk down Bath Village. We are one when we walk the main road. Whatever it is, if people on the outside look at us and recognize that we are not truly one, then we are in problems. So we must start from home. And home is not just Bastille. Home is also Charlestown.
Okay. Now, I'm listening to you and I'm wondering how realistic this is. Because we've heard about frameworks.
Yes.
We've heard about, people wanting the Charlestown Accord comes to
Yes.
mind. We've heard about people saying, we really want to let divisions feel special and a part of the process. But we have not really seen it come to fruition.
That's true.
So
we've seen some progress, but not enough.
But how do we change the mindset?
Well, I don't know where my mother and father met, but he was born in Nevis.
Okay.
And my mother was born in St. Kitts. I don't know if they met on the streets of Charlestown or the streets of Bastille. And I see myself as
both.
a Kitty vision. And with that said, our support must be in every sector, not just when we go to music festival or mango festival or Culturama. There must be tourism support for Nevis. We must work together. So whether it is a St. Kitts Tourism Authority in Nevis, why not have a St. Kitts Nevis Tourism Authority?
Yes.
Agriculture support. We must make sure that we lend support to those who provide food security regardless of where they're from. Our children, we always say that the youth are the future, and so there must be educational advancement, whether you're a citizen who was born in St. Kitts or one who was born in Nevis. We are two islands, but we must always remember that we are one federation. And under my leadership, I want St. Kitts and Nevis to rise together. I don't want Nevis to get left behind, because when the National Assembly opens, there are Kittitians and Nevisians.
Yes.
We must all look for our brothers regardless of which island we were born in. And I don't want, under my leadership, I don't want to leave a legacy that there's continued rumbling between St. Kitts and Nevis. We must walk hand in hand with each other. And I think once that framework is established and respected, we will have a better nation moving forward. I know back in the years gone by, you would have heard the talks about secession. I don't want that under my watch. I want, when I jump on a boat, that I'm literally going home, because Nevis would be my home. Likewise, when someone is coming down from Nevis, I also want them to feel that they're going home. They are just going across the waters, but they are going home. Maybe one day we will have that bridge, the bridge from St. Kitts to Nevis, Nevis to St. Kitts, so that we can truly feel as one.
So you intend to create a solution to, the bad feelings that have
Yes.
become a part of the relationship. Now, critics say that our economy has become stagnant. If the traditional revenue streams are facing these tight pressures, where do you see new economic sparks coming from? under your leadership. We are hearing lots about the CBI. We know we have been very dependent on the Citizenship by Investments
Yes.
program, and we are seeing that it's very fickle, and it is susceptible to outside shocks. So we are hearing from the EU right now about, really phasing out the program. Now, as a prospective Prime Minister, how would you deal with that?
You see, we must not be responsive to shocks. We must put things in place as a nation to prepare for those shocks. The Citizenship by Investment program was created in 1984. St. Kitts and Nevis basically were the flagship for that. And over the years, there have been some bad characters, and so that has put the Citizenship by Investment program in a bad light. However, that doesn't mean that we can't look beyond that and also improve what we have. Because I can remember hearing from my parents, because I was not born when Sir Kennedy became the leader of this nation, but we were suffering from a sugar crop that really was going downhill, and we were able to embrace tourism. So if we recognize that there are a number of outside factors and maybe internal factors that will affect our citizenship, we must truly look at diversifying. Diversifying can't just be in words alone. When we speak of diversification, we must look at how do we move our street vendors into full-bred entrepreneurs. How do we take our creatives and make them bankable? How do we look at having a local market for a number of products and being able to export? This is the St. Kitts Nevis brand, so that people come here looking for the particular item, whether it is, let's just use the word, let's just say it's guava cheese. People know that St. Kitts Nevis has the best guava cheese in the region, in the world, and so we must put our people in an area or in a position where they are marketable. So those are some of the things that we have to look at. Now, if we start to put a number of ideas and discuss them amongst people in terms of how we can move out of this economic paralysis, then we will find new ideas that we can now make St. Kitts and Nevis a sustainable island state, have our economy diversified. Not that we're going to give up citizenship by investment, but we look at new ways, just like how we were able to move from sugar and go into tourism. Now we recognize that there are many other islands amongst the region, in the region, who have tourism as one of their products. So we have competitors. So what next? Let's look at...
And tourism can be fickle as well.
That too, because COVID showed us.
And hurricanes, and
Yes, COVID showed us. So this administration has shown a total lack of vision. They are leaving its people vulnerable. Yes, we understand that we don't have any control over natural disasters, but let's find the cushions. Let's make sure that people can protect their livelihoods. People can now have a partnership with government to make sure that they are safe and secure, they are in a strong foundation, and they are marketable. We need to make sure our local entrepreneurs, our tradesmen, and our vendors, who are the backbone of our society, that they be given support. They be given a ring, basically, to protect them. And until we start to do that, when we speak of diversifying, or this administration speak about diversifying, and it's leaving the people behind, then it's not. It's just lip service, really.
You've spent some time last week speaking about the foundational achievements of Sir Kennedy Simmons, the first Prime Minister, and the modern successes of your colleagues like Dr. Sean Richards, and Lindsay Grant. For the younger generation, or those who may be on the fence about the People's Action Movement, why is anchoring your modern vision in a specific legacy so important for the future of St. Kitts and Nevis? Why does PAM need to tell their story?
I think before you go in a particular direction, you must know where you came from. I'm sure many persons, I go back to the Mango Festival, many persons drove on the Southeast Peninsula last week. They drove there to attend the Mango Festival. But they must understand that that physical infrastructure, the construction of the Southeast Peninsula Road, it opened the entire Southeast Peninsula for economic development. So when you see Park Hyatt, that was an avenue created under the foundation of PAM, the Simmons era between 1980 to 1995. A mother who has to go on maternity leave, if she gets benefits, Social Security is something that was created under the Simmons era. If you look down at Port Santan, there is a ship docked at the port. That is something that we must let people know, that some persons did not want that to happen. When you hear people speaking about the million cruise passengers, Lindsay Grant, as a former Minister of Tourism between 2015 to 2022, that was the platinum standard. He created that under his tenure as Minister of Tourism. He achieved that record-breaking cruise passenger arrival. He successfully repositioned the Federation as a luxury destination. So PAM has to tell their story. Some people might say, well, okay, that was then, but what will you do? Okay, so look at 1980 to 1995, 15 years under a PAM-led administration. Then you had 7 years, 2015 to 2022. That's 15 and 7, that's 22 years. So you recognize that when PAM is in office, the people prosper, the nation thrives. And that is something that we learn. That is something that, yes, I accept the policies and the philosophies of the People's Action Movement, and I am willing to spread it, not just to those in St. Kitts and Nevis, but to those throughout the region and as far as possible as we can go. So learning, seeing the benefits, and recognizing that it impacts the livelihood of people in a positive way, that is something that I want to carry on. That is something that I also have the opportunity, the blessing to speak to previous leaders in terms of how they were able to navigate. Dr. Sean Richards, he was the Minister of Education. You saw improvement in TVET. You had Janelle Powell, he was helping the youth. And so I have the benefit of speaking to all of them, to speaking to Mr. Grant, to speaking to Janelle Powell, to speaking to Dr. Richards, who is part of my team. And our first Prime Minister and only living national hero, Sir Kennedy, the wealth of knowledge that he shares and how he's able to impart it on others, I think that I am well placed, not just with the history of the party, but as someone who is willing to learn, someone who's willing to fight for the people. I'm well placed to say that under PAM, with the vision that we have shown and the execution of some of the character traits of the People's Action Movement, I think the nation will do well under my leadership, under the People's Action Movement.
Okay, let's take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back. But before, so we'll take that commercial break and we'll be right back.
Sweet Sister Sensia.
St. Kitts and Nevis, get ready for the hottest event of the summer. Sweet Sister Sensia, the Alpha Queen, present the Red, Black, White Affair on Saturday, 25th July at the venue. Dress to impress in your finest red, black, white, and come ready for a night of pure vibes, great music, and unforgettable memories. Music by the Horny Band Grand Masters. TNO Sounds, Hellfire International, Extortion Sounds, Brazzy, AJ and Galdo, The Sugar Band, Your Vibes International. Dangles, Sensia, Street Vibe Sounds, Digimon, sound system provided by Ike, The Real Right, Omiam, look out forget to mention, also in the building, Dishore.
I feel for some legs, rapper.
Admission, tickets in advance $50, at the door you pay $60. VIP table package is available for $600, includes full drink package. So get your tickets now at events.jad.cash/red-black-white. Champions Bar at Port Zante. Or call Tasha 764-5163 or Michelle 669-2009. Don't hear about it after? Be there and experience it for yourself. The Red, Black, White Affair. One night, one dress code, one unforgettable experience. So see you on Saturday, 25th July at the venue. Get your tickets now before they're gone.
Friday's calling, and it's calling for a Guinness. Every Friday, it's Guinness Happy Hour at Champions Bar and Last Lap, 5 p.m. to 6:30. Buy one Guinness, get one free. 2 stouts for the price of one. 1 hour and a half. Zero excuses. Guinness. Drink responsibly.
On Friday, July 24th at 8 p.m., the NEDAX Cultural Complex comes alive for the National Bank Miss Culture Swimwear and Mr. Cool contest. Who will capture the coveted titles? Come on out and support your favorite contestants and participants as they battle for the crowns. Our heritage, proud and true. It's Culturama 52.
Ready to taste your way through the best of St. Kitts and Nevis? Then don't miss Taste and See, the ultimate celebration of local cooperative products, flavors, and innovation. Join us on Saturday, 11th July at the Gardens in the UE parking lot from 12 noon until 6 p.m. for this exciting free admission event. For just $20, purchase a Taste and See sampling passport and embark on a delicious taste journey during the first 2 hours. Visit participating booths and sample a variety of locally made products. Or know exactly what you want? Then come and grab it! From agro-processed treats and fresh produce to unique value-added creations, there's something for every taste bud to enjoy. Along with beautiful cultural performances and live music. Bring your family, bring your friends on Saturday, 11th July at the Gardens in the UE parking lot. And come experience the richness, creativity, and quality of our cooperative sector. Taste it, discover it, support it. We'll see you there.
On Friday, July 24th at 8 p.m., the NEDAX Cultural Complex comes alive for the National Bank Miss Culture Swimwear and Mr. Cool contest. Who will capture the coveted titles? Come on out and support your favorite contestants and participants as they battle for the crowns. Our heritage, proud and true. It's Culturama 52.
back with Vision Friday right here on Freedom FM. It's a People's Action Movement sponsored program which happens each and every Friday from 11 to 12. Our guest is Natasha Shani Gray Brooks, and she is the political leader of the People's Action Movement. So this morning we've had sort of a wide-ranging conversation. We've spoken about the bread and butter issues, a little bit about the economy, the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis, and the history of the People's Action Movement. So at this point in time, we'll want to open the lines and get your feedback, hear from you what you think the People's Action Movement needs to do in terms of putting its People First agenda forward and what that People's First agenda would look like. You may also call in and ask the leader of the party questions about what that means for her. So the numbers to call in are 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. In the meantime, before we took the break, we were speaking about the history of the People's Action Movement, the record of the People's Action Movement whilst in office. And Shani was telling us about, the record during the 80s and the period between 2015 and 2022, correct?
Yes.
So what else stands out for you? What else stands out for you?
There are a number of things, really. As a mother, when you get improved or increased social security benefits, and you are able to have that bond and connection with your child, that is something that the People's Action Movement ensured that mothers can have 13 weeks benefits. Also, children who were born out of wedlock, they were given that opportunity to what you call the Status of Children Act. They can now carry their father's surname. That is a benefit that persons were able to gain and accomplish under the People's Action Movement. So you are now standing on the same level, and a child who was born out of wedlock now standing on the same level as a child who was born in wedlock. The SELF program, a number of children, their parents cannot afford to buy all the essentials for school. Under the People's Action Movement, you had parents being able to collect school supplies, textbooks for their children to help them to learn and get that education they deserve. That is something a PAM administration was able to put in place for the children who are the future of this nation. And make sure that they're well fed. The school meals program, nutritious meals provided throughout the week so that the children can have the necessary energy to focus on their education. As the leader of the People's Action Movement, I must be proud of that accomplishment under Sir Kennedy and his team. But we went further. A number of schools were constructed under the People's Action Movement. A number of community centers, some of them right now are not in use, but these were provided to have an avenue where persons can now socialize and make sure that their standard of living is something that is better. The People's Action Movement presents opportunities for its people. Whilst we have a number of families who are unable to meet their everyday needs, yes, it's all well and good to have social programs, but under the People's Action Movement, I find the economic situation, based on my little experience during the 7 years, 2015 to 2022, when you had a majority of PAM members in government, and also from what I learned from my elders during the 80s and the 90s, that the economic situation in St. Kitts and Nevis was better. So we have an independent nation that was created. We got independence in 1983. The people saw the economic benefits of the programs that were put in place. You had community centers, the necessary provisions put in place for our children, whether it is for the books or the meals, and life was generally better. When you compare and contrast that to what we currently have now, you have to ask yourself a question. Are our people better off under this present administration? I would say a resounding no, because we have stagnant development. Look at our communities today. What major economy defining capital project ground has been broken on under the Drew administration?
Okay, let's take a pin and we missed that one, but the numbers to call in. The lines are still open, and the numbers to call in are 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. I'm sorry, but you were saying you were asking what programs have been put in place
under this administration. We have to ask. I mean, okay, they campaigned heavily on the Basquiat High School. We're now going into the 4th year of this present administration. Okay, you see a fenced off Basquiat High School. With what was promised to us was that we would see shipments coming from Barbados in relation to what would be almost a ready-made Basquiat High School. We are now maybe about 3 months from that promise, and what do we have to see? What have they shown our people? How has the contractors benefited from the building, the construction of the Basquiat High School? How has the hardware companies benefited? We must ensure that people feel the difference when they are capital projects.
Okay, we have a caller. Good afternoon. It's afternoon, is it? No, I'm sorry. Good morning.
It's morning.
Hello, caller. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air. Okay, so I'm not getting that caller. That caller called on the 662 number. Please call on 465-6474 or 465-0546. So try those, and we'll be happy to take your contribution.
Yes.
Let's try this one again. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good day.
Good day. You're live.
Almost midday, my dear.
Yes.
Yes, I tried to get in for the longest while. I'm happy that I could get in, and I just want to say to
Did you
my
call
political
before?
leader. Yes, I've been calling for a long time.
Okay, we were trying to take the call, but I don't know what was happening, but we're happy to have you.
Yes, I would like to say to my political leader, special good morning, and the task ahead is huge, and I know that she's more than capable of handling the task, because as we look around St. Kitts and Nevis, we have seen that this present administration has been failing the people. As I was journeying from Saddlers to Bastia on a bus yesterday, surprisingly that the conversation on that bus amongst young people was the conversation of opportunities. And the lead person in that conversation was speaking about skilled tradesmen. And he was speaking about the fact that he learned his trade from a Guyanese guy who taught him to run blacks in St. Kitts. And what he was saying is that the opportunities are not there for skilled people to learn a skill. And that's something that I will like our political leader to look into and speak on the opportunity for people to learn a skill. It's lacking in St. Kitts right now. Let's look at it. We are spending almost 60 million on SLEP at the present moment. But when you look around the construction site, you could hardly find a black player under the age of 40. You could hardly find a carpenter under the age of 40. So this is a thing that we have to look at. We have to build this country. We need the man and woman of this country to build this country. So I will pause there for now, but I will just let it kudos to the political leader and keep on.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. The lines remain open at 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. Shani?
Thank you for that, caller. I appreciate the encouragement because, as you rightly said, the task ahead is very difficult and hard. However, I am up to that task. We have to encourage our young people. They don't want a temporary government handout. They want opportunities. We don't want that you say, okay, this is going to happen, and as soon as an election cycle is finished, it disappears. We want to make sure that our youth, I will ensure that our youth have the tools to build real generational wealth. They must be able to hone their skills. And we are coming out of an era of dependency under the People's Action Movement.
We missed that call, but yes, we missed that call, but the lines are still open at 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. Shannon, go ahead.
Sure. I want to tell the young people of this federation that you are not mere ornaments or campaign decorations. That is coming to an end. Young people are not just the leaders of tomorrow. They are the leaders of right now. Right now. We have to appreciate who we have. Under the People's Action Movement, we don't want any temporary band-aids.
Okay, let's take this call. Good morning. Welcome to Vision Friday.
Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to Miss Natasha Gray Brooks.
Good morning.
I heard you, Mrs. Brooks, just mentioned that the people of the country, well, I guess the people of St. Kitts, I don't know if you meant Nevis as well, but you mentioned that people are worse off. I guess you meant since the Labour administration took office. Am I correct from since that period?
You are correct.
Okay, I'm correct. Okay. I want to ask you a question. The unity government promised back then in 2015 to provide a livable wage for the people of this country, in particular the workers. They stayed in office, no livable wage. The minimum wage was $360 per week. They promised to increase that. After 7 years, no increase in the minimum wage. The Labour administration under Dr. Drew did promise to increase the minimum wage. And today, the minimum wage has moved under the Labour administration led by Dr. Drew. It has moved from $360 per week to now $500 per week. So I want to ask you, Mrs. Brooks, isn't that increase an indication that our people are better off in that regard? In that they're not making 360, they're now making 500. So unless you are practicing politics of deception, I would like you to explain to the people of this country how can someone who was making $360 for 7 years on the Unity and they're now making $500 per week, I would ask you to explain to us how can that be someone who is worse off. So please to expound on that and give us your interpretation. I will listen off you. Thank you much.
Okay, we have another caller, so let's take that caller. Good afternoon. Good morning, I'm sorry.
Yes, bless. Yes, the gentleman there touched me so much. Trust me. You see, black people, we must stop jack down each other. Even if you want to get in a position, a political position, you got to speak the truth. And this kind of, or you could save people, cannot work. No politician could save us right now. We got to save ourselves. Right? These people, young people, they want loan anything, most of them. Because even with the Unity, all the party them, they're giving them opportunities to go and loan, and they do not go loan. They go collect the money, and that's all they want. They can't do nothing but collect money. We can't help them, they have to help themselves. A lot of land around they learn to farm, they want to do no farming. They want to put the blame on the people, them Lord, march on them. I mean, what they're doing is the best to me. You know, we could improve, but we have to come with this decision now. We got to stop doing them each other. We cannot do it no more. Trust me, good is good and bad is bad. We got, even if you want to get in the office, when you get in, sister, if you get in, you cannot change anything. We have to change ourselves. Respect, love, man.
Okay, thank you for that contribution. The lines remain open at 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546.
Jamie, I want to thank the last two callers for their concerns, questions. And I know one of them said that they are listening off here.
Okay, somebody else is calling in. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We're going to give you the time to respond to the callers, but we want to get as many callers as possible. Good afternoon. Good morning. I keep saying good afternoon. I don't know. But good morning.
Good morning. This is Rally Low.
Morning.
I need the government, the Labour government, to put back the money in place for the food. The $250 or the $500. The Federation of Six and Nevis, we suffering. We want some money or we want some food. The Labour government, Jeffrey Hanley, hear me? Put it back in place. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution.
You see, the thing that some people don't understand is that when people wake up at mornings, they are facing hardship. And I know Rally Love is in my constituency, and I've done a number of community days to ensure that people can have some sort of sustenance. And under my leadership, we will create opportunities for people to be able to live. Now let's go to the wage issue. I'm not going to run from the fact that under the Drew administration, the minimum wage was increased to $500. But let's look at the reality. What is good of an increase to a wage of $500 when you go into the supermarket and when you spend $400 out of that $500 less Social Security, you're coming out with next to nothing? What is good of that increase when some employers can't afford to pay their staff because of the fact that the overheads are killing them, the fuel surcharge? So when a mother has to take $500 less Social Security and manage that $500 with high fuel costs, skyrocketing grocery prices every single time you go, which is unchecked by our ministry, what good is that increase? You can increase the wage on paper, get all the committees that you want, but if the purchasing power of our citizens and residents shrinks, then they are worse off. When Dr. Drew and Marsha, somebody called Marsha's name and I will call Jeffrey's name, when they go into the supermarkets, if they ever do, they have an increased salary of 33%. They are getting traveling allowance, they are getting food allowance, they are getting housing allowance. The ordinary man and woman in McKnight, what allowance are they getting? The man who owns the mechanic shop, what allowance is he getting to make sure that he can pay his employees $500 a week? When you compare the last administration to the present one, bank accounts are lower. When you talk about a livable wage, it can't just be saying a livable wage because it increased. You must be able to live. Dr. Drew and his team has given a teaspoon on a payday and they took a shovel for themselves. That is what they did. And they fly away every week. Right now, well, I don't know if he come back today, but Dr. Drew was off island up to yesterday and he's racking in his per diem.
Okay, let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Jamie. Good morning to the young lady there.
Good morning.
Yeah. No, I just tune in. I just tune in. And I was thinking about before I tell them, before I call. Now, if you're talking about this goes to the minister and that goes to the minister, let me say tomorrow you get into office. What will you do with that same opportunity? Will you say, okay, I would go to the supermarket. This is not granted unto me. I giving it up. I give it up. I'm free electricity. I giving up this. Will you do that? The next thing is, when you talk about cost of living, if you can stop the war that is going on, because when you look at gas price, you realize gas control everything that you could ever think about. Food, clothes, just name it. Now, as long as this war going on, we cannot control certain things when it comes to cost of living. There is certain things we just cannot control. Now, if let me take it back, even when Team Unity get into power. When Team Unity get into power, they remove VAT from all foods. But guess what? The cost of food went up too. The price of food went up. So it surely means something is wrong somewhere along the line. Because if you remove that from all food and then price of food still were going up, well, tell me how you're going to control that. I thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, caller. The political leader will respond to the callers.
Thank you for that call and your attempt to ask me what I will do and what is different. What I will do is not take a salary hike when I haven't even worked for a good 2 years. What I will do is not watch a mother or father in their face and say, I'm sorry to hear, and then rake in $4,000. I would not do that. That is heartless. I would not tell an employer who has their business, who is telling me that based on the increase in surcharge, based on a number of operating expenses, I have to downsize my staff. I'm not going to tell them, well, work it out. I'm going to make sure under the People's Action Movement, we put people first. We plan to support the worker by supporting the local business that employs them. Gas prices, yes, I understand. I understand that gas prices will have an impact, but measures were put in place under the last administration, which the People's Action Movement was a major player in, to deal with the rising price in gases. We must make sure that we put cushions in place. There must be some resilience of our small business. Is that happening now? I would say no. So, okay, why not lower the energy costs? Why not inject capital into local businesses to stop the price hikes? We have to protect our people. We must protect the value of money in our pocket. Getting $500 but having a lower spending power does not help our people. It does not help our people. And so we need to stop treating employees and employers like they are the enemies in a tug of war. Right now, the enemy of the state is this Drew administration. So we have to lower the cost of living for our people and the cost of doing business.
Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yes, quickly again, Jamie.
Caller? Sorry. We weren't hearing you. What did you say?
No, I was saying, right now, our CBI program is a kind of underwater for now. Eventually, we know the whole thing will collapse. And over the years.
You think the entire thing will collapse?
What I mean, if it would, it will eventually.
Okay.
It will eventually. But I pray and hope that it happen. But,
with other programs, similar programs coming on stream.
Like?
The U.S. now has a golden passport. There are similar programs, right? So I don't know if it will collapse or I know there will be challenges, but I don't think it will collapse. Let's just.
But Jamie, but hear the thing, and this is where our people comes in. Our people in St. have a certain standard of living.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to hear you cannot. It's just like you have a baby and the baby crying, say, Mommy, I'm hungry. Whether mommy have to do things or daddy have to do things to feed that child, the child don't care with that. All what the child know, are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I use this to say that. Kitchen don't care whether passport or seller, this or seller, that or seller.
Mm-hmm.
All what they're concerned about, you owe me something and give me. That's our mentality all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And politicians now making it even worse now to make them believe that we owe you something. I am not saying government cannot try to ease where they could ease people's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But you realize what I find happening? For years, this free hand and this free hand now is something that could prevent a lot of us of reaching our goal. You see me? I don't depend on politicians. If I take on a project, I take on a project for me to fight it. With God help, me one and my family. If help comes in, I wasn't looking for it. It comes, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But for me to sit down there and rely upon politicians, because when you listen to Miss Natasha Gray Brooks,
mm-hmm.
these are the kind of mentality that we put in the minds of young people. That government owes them something and you have to fight for it. Let me tell you something. That is why I would say this. When Dr. Kennedy Alphonse Simmons was in government, mm-hmm. I remember this and I have to give him his jacket, We had a hurricane, I believe it was Hurricane Hugo or something like that. And I tell you, every man, woman and child put hands on deck and work together, because I believe around that time we were very close to the the tourism system. And every man worked to make sure that we get the country clean up and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I will tell you, I will bet my last dollar if I have any. We will not get that happening again. You know why? Because politicians make people believe you have to depend on this and you have to depend on that. And mm-hmm. I heard Natasha Gray Brooks in something the other day say, labor cutting off current and this and that. Why the same Natasha Gray Brooks is not encouraging people to pay their bills? Because Natasha Gray bill paying she won, Because if Natasha Gray Brooks do not pay her bill, she too will get cut off.
Okay, caller. I want to ask you a question, right? But this is aside from Natasha Gray-Brooks. So nobody mix me, right? But this is something that I wonder about because we hear the narrative all the time, and I'm not saying that you're wrong when people say that kitchens have become, and I'm saying kitchens because I can't speak for Nivisions, right? But you hear people say, "Oh, kitchens have become too entitled. They want handouts and they want this and they want that." Now, where I am from, in my mind, there would always be people within the society who are more vulnerable than others, right? So while I understand that you're saying that you don't ever depend on government for anything, you do recognize that there will be people who don't have a choice but to depend on somebody for something.
That's true.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask you. No, that's all I wanted to ask you, because at times I think we forget that there are vulnerable people who are not in a position to help themselves, and sometimes we need to provide a little scaffolding to help them until they can do a little better. There are some people who would never be able to do better, and that's all I really wanted to add to the conversation.
Very good. Now your conversation, I will support you with that. I will support you 100% with that. But hear the thing, Jen. You realize all of a sudden everybody come poor and want to be on the poverty alleviation program?
I don't say everybody, but there are. But
Jimmy,
but I agree with you. That is why we need. I agree with you. Because all of a sudden people trying to hide assets and all kind of things so they could be a part of these programs. That's why we need strong policies, because there are always going to be people who are going to try to cheat the system,
and the most deserving should get it.
Exactly.
All right. Now hear this. When the program started, they say all those who working for below $3,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about for
families, yes.
Right. After a while, sometime in one household, 3 and 4 getting because of what? Politics?
Because you think it's because of politics? Because people just dishonest.
But Dr. Dr. Joe promised to increase it. You know that.
Beg your pardon, I didn't catch what you said.
In 2022 campaign, he promised to increase it.
Uh-huh.
So is it that he was saying that more people are in need, and then when he got in, things changed?
You see, this is where when politicians say something, we have to ask questions, because let me tell you this. I could use this to make a point.
Mm-hmm.
I could say I could increase it, but most of those who on board could get jump off. It could happen that way, because when politicians say something, it's you to read between the lines. I could say, you know what, 5,000 people right now on the PAC program. Okay, fine. I'm going to increase it. Out of the 5, I could take away 3 from it, put the 2, and still increase it to the amount you want. Because when politicians say something, you have to question everything. It's like Natasha Gray could come and tell me, I promise you this and promise that. Give me a time frame. Mm-hmm. Give me a time frame. In the first 100 days, in the first 50 days, whatever happens. You will not get that from politicians that easy.
And we need to.
What you will get from politicians under the People's Action Movement is empowering our people, teaching people to fish, not handing them fish. You said something about Dr. Simmons. Under that administration, you didn't have this dependency syndrome, and that is something that will continue, because we have to empower our people. And when we don't empower our people and we make them feel entitled, this is the monster that you will create.
I like what you promised, But here's the thing. I like what you promised,
Lucci, we gotta go. We have other callers.
But let me leave my lady with this last thing.
Yes, sir.
Your promises is very good. But here's the thing. This is why you missing and other politicians missing. Under the days of Dr. Kennedy Simmons and now, our mindset has changed. It's not the same again. I thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. I absolutely enjoy the debate because sometimes people feel like because you have different points of view, you can't discuss things, right? Let's take this call. I think this is going to be our final call because we only have a few seconds left. Good morning. You're live.
Good morning, Miss Gray.
Good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon. No, it's afternoon or say morning. Good afternoon, sir.
The handout program come from Timothy. He just called everything. Not Jew. Timothy is called it. It's handout thing. Independent government for handout. Unity called it.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Carla.
Okay, he's gone.
PAM did not cause a handout thing. PAM did not cause a dependency thing. Neither did Dr. Simmons, neither did Lindsey Grant, neither did Sean Richards, and Natasha Gray will not.
Okay, so at this point in time, we'll invite you to give a 1 minute wrap up because we're out of time.
Yes, Jamie. I recognize that we're out of time. I recognize that we have to do a lot more for our people, and that is why I will come here every Friday under the People's Action Movement. Our People First agenda is to make sure that we will serve and make sacrifices for our people. We are not about self-enrichment. We are about ensuring that we make life better for our people. We have seen it done before, and definitely under the People's Action Movement, under my leadership, better days are ahead. We'll wrap up, and next week we'll look at some different issues.
That brings us to the end of another edition of Vision Friday right here on Freedom FM's. Right here on Freedom FM. Vision Friday is a People's Action Movement sponsored program. Sincere thanks to the People's Action Movement's leader, Natasha Shani Gray Brooks, for sharing her perspectives. Until next time, have a safe and enjoyable weekend.